Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Friday, January 5th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 403 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Our top story of the day is the fallout from yesterday's big news that Attorney General Jeff Sessions is rescinding the Cole Memo, an Obama-era guidance document laying out the particulars for how the federal government would tolerate state legal marijuana. This is easily the biggest single news event that I've seen in the year and a half that I've been producing the Daily, with just about every one of our 89 headlines found in our newsfeed newsletter having to do with Sessions and his announcement. It was honestly a bit of a struggle to fill in the other 9 news spots today with stories that don't overlap somehow. Our buddy Tom Angel over at Marijuana Moments has a great collection of the myriad of reactions from politicians to the rescinding. Strongest among them is Colorado Republican Senator Cory Gardner, who took to the Senate floor yesterday to make a fiery condemnation of the Attorney General's act, going as far as to promise to hold up all nominations for the Department of Justice, a very serious threat showcasing one of the major powers of being a U.S. Senator. Besides the good senator, there were similar criticisms from politicians like Democratic Senators Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, Bernie Sanders of Vermont, and Republican Senators Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Orrin Hatch of Utah. Just about every politician from states with robust legal systems chimed in with defiant calls to resist all actions from the DOJ. Click over to Tom's piece on Marijuana Moment for the full and comprehensive list of responses. It's quite a sight. Only on a day like today would this next story be bumped to number 2, with the Vermont House of Representatives voting yesterday by a count of 81 to 63 in favor of a bill to legalize the adult use of marijuana. On just the second day of this year's legislative session, state House lawmakers quickly moved to pass on the legalization bill to the state Senate, where it's expected to pass. Vermont Republican Governor Phil Scott has indicated that he will sign the bill, which was revised after he vetoed a similar measure last summer. This will make his state the first in the nation to legalize the adult use of marijuana via the legislative process. This is an even bigger deal than it might sound because the number of states that allow for voter initiative ballot measures is shrinking, so it's important that states like Vermont jump into the legalization game. If passed, the Vermont measure would not set up a commercial sales system, but would allow for people 21 years of age and older to grow, possess, use, and gift small amounts of marijuana starting later this summer. With the state Senate scheduled to cast their votes early next week, we'll be checking back in on this one soon for sure. Yesterday, Pennsylvania announced that they have approved the first license for a dispensary in their nascent medical marijuana system. Keystone Canna Remedies of Bethlehem were the first lucky licensees and will open up sometime in the next month, though it won't have any actual cannabis to sell until at least late spring as the handful of state-licensed cultivators work to get their grow operations up. Pennsylvania has more than 10,000 registered medical marijuana patients and around 570 doctors qualified to recommend cannabis as a medicine. When fully up and running later this year, Keystone State patients will be able to purchase and consume medical marijuana as oils, capsules, tinctures, or through vaporizers, though not as flower or in edibles form. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, MJ Today Media, publishers of this podcast, our weekly show, Marijuana Today, and our ever-popular email newsletter, the MJ Today Media Newsfeed. If you have a business that could benefit from reaching the best audience in legal marijuana, then you want to get in touch with us to talk about our sponsorship options. We have packages for businesses from small startups to industry giants. Deploy your marketing budget in the smartest of ways with MJ Today Media. Just email advertising at mjtodaydaily.com to get a copy of our ad kit and to get started telling your business story to the movers, shakers, and decision makers of legal cannabis. That's advertising at mjtodaydaily.com. And don't forget, if you work with a marketing or advertising agency, email to ask about our agency discount. All right, time for the blitz. A member of the Alaska Marijuana Control Board has resigned from his position, citing Attorney General Sessions' rescinding of the Cole Memo as his reason. Board Chair Peter Molinarik, who also serves as a police chief, said that the move by Sessions, quote, removes the underpinnings on which the marijuana industry in Alaska is based, unquote. KTUU2 News is reporting that Mr. Molinarik was accused of being biased against marijuana legalization last year after he worked to pass a ballot measure calling for the banning of cannabis dispensaries. So maybe it's not such a terrible thing that he stepped down. The state of Maine is now accepting applications to grow industrial hemp for this growing season. Prospective hemp cultivators will pay $100 to apply, $500 for each license they win, and a flat fee of $50 per acre of hemp cultivated. This is the third year that industrial hemp has been legal in Maine, with just 2 licensed growers putting hemp seed to soil in 2016, whereas last year there were 33. Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin set the date that her state's citizens will vote on a ballot measure to legalize medical marijuana. Oklahoman voters will go to the ballot box on June 26th to vote on a limited medical marijuana measure that would allow patients to grow up to 12 plants at home and possess up to 3 ounces of cannabis flower, upon the recommendation of a doctor. Marijuana-related stocks trading on Canadian public markets took a big hit yesterday on the news of the Cole memo rescinding, with industry giant Canopy Growth Corporation falling 17%. The handful of American stocks dealing in cannabis weren't untouched either, with Scott's Miracle Grow, which has built a large portfolio of brands servicing legal marijuana cultivators, shedding 5.2% of its price, its largest one-day drop in the last 8 months. Canadian licensed medical marijuana provider Aurora Cannabis, now one of the larger players in the nation's legal market, is expanding its international aspirations with a new deal in Denmark that puts them as the majority partner in a new venture to grow and sell medical marijuana. Under terms of the deal, Aurora will own 51% of the joint venture and will soon start construction on a 1 million square foot cultivation and processing facility. When complete, they say the new Denmark facility will be capable of churning out just over 260,000 pounds of marijuana per year. Highlighting just how bipartisan of an issue medical marijuana is becoming, a Republican nominee for a seat in Kentucky's House of Representatives is coming out strongly in favor of medical cannabis, saying that it's needed to fight her state's ongoing opioid crisis. Republican candidate Rebecca Johnson, who is running for the seat vacated by her recently deceased husband Dan, is running against Democrat Linda Belcher, who has also gone on record as being in support of medical marijuana. And finally for today, Scientific American has a good piece up looking at the current state of research on the use of medical cannabis to treat the symptoms of PTSD, particularly among military veterans. This is a great story to open up and read. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again Monday morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. What has 4 legs and can fly? 2 birds. Thanks to our sponsor, MJ Today Media, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.